Well, for those that have been paying attention here in the past week or so, there's been some funny business with the Chinese markets, and there was dramatic spikes and drops in the market that had affected our markets. And if you're someone that pays attention to the markets, then you know how China trying to enter the IMF currency basket is going to affect the US dollar big time. Now, we've heard throughout the years all these different scenarios where the economy could crash. But I, for one, am a firm believer that if we're not directly attacked or have a natural disaster in some way that cripples us independently, I feel that if there's a major move made by China, strong enough one, it can be designed to where it collapses not only the Chinese markets in the end, but the U.S., the European, everyone connected to it. And it would be by design to usher in a new world system. How else will you do it? The easiest way is to have them fall like dominoes. How can this be done? Well, and I'm not saying that this is going to happen immediately, but the way that this game is propped up, they can do anything overnight when they're pulling the strings. Now, the sinking value of the Chinese currency is already crippling the British industry, as it cannot compete with China's cheap exports. And do you know what this reminds me of? The situation with Saudi Arabia with gas prices, how they dropped everything down super low to where they weren't making huge gains, but why they did it was to cripple the fracking economy here in the United States of America. If they dropped the price per barrel low enough, it would mean that these fracking operations couldn't even operate. There wouldn't be enough money in it. They couldn't keep afloat. They had to shut down operations. That was their tactic. And then if they had to shut down operations, guess who they were going to have to come and get oil from? You guessed it, Saudi Arabia. You see, at the same time, crippling our economy and our market, attacking it by lowering their own value because they control the overall market standard. You see? And if China gets their currency into the IMF basket, which they will in September of this year, things could really start to take a shift. You could see more and more countries ditch the dollar and jump on board with their currency as a reserve currency globally. Now, they say what could potentially happen here is that they are predicting an ice age for the world's economies, including Britain. That global deflation is going to be wiped out around 75% in value. And they're talking the American S&P stock market as well, mixed in there. Because the Western firms are going to be unable to compete with the cheap Chinese exports. You see? And they will in turn take in all that money. But after all the other economies fall, you would think, oh, they'll stand as a power. No, they won't. There's no one else buying from them once they fall. So then they too will fall in the end. And what will be ushered in? I'm telling you, this new world system. If they got to do it block by block, they will. But at this point, China has a lot of leverage in this. And when they're talking about crashing the markets, if you're paying attention, the slightest moves by China already are affecting the markets. So, 2016, one to watch, especially toward the end of the year come September. I'll leave a link. It's been Dabu7.